Hi everyone, it's Patricia Worby again from Alchemy Therapies. I just wanted to do a little addition to the first video I did on Hashimoto's. Hashimoto's thyroiditis, to give it its full title, is an autoimmune condition where the body starts to attack its own thyroid tissue. And as I explained in the first one, it can have many causations, a combination of diet, toxicity, and usually emotional stress adds to this sort of perfect storm of conditions where the body starts to attack itself. And I went into a lot of detail about the supplementation and the diet changes that you need to make, and a little bit also about lifestyle, how to change your stress patterns and so on. But what I didn't cover in that first video, it's really important, is how you need to replace the actual thyroid hormone itself. Because when your body is attacking its own thyroid tissue, obviously the amount of thyroid hormone that the remaining tissue is being able to produce is not sufficient, and that's what's been happening to me. That's why autoimmune or Hashimoto's thyroiditis is a lot worse than just an underperforming thyroid, which is just hyperthyroidism. But it's true to say that the majority of low thyroid conditions in the UK and probably in the US and Australia and most Western nations is autoimmune thyroiditis or Hashimoto's. And so with that condition in place, there is a real problem because you can't reverse the destruction once it's happened. You can probably stop any more destruction, which is what we're aiming to do with me. But as far as we know, the thyroid doesn't regenerate. Now, as a mind-body therapist, I'm always questioning statements like that. So I would never say never. And I certainly have a lot of hope that I might be able to stabilise my condition, if not reverse it. But first of all, of course, you've got to get diagnosed properly. And this is where modern medicine is pretty hopeless, to be fair. They don't look at you anymore. They don't study your signs and ask you how you feel. They just test you. And if the tests say you're fine, then you're fine, regardless of how you feel. And that's kind of what's been happening to me the last 3 years, despite the fact that I'm taking, or was taking, what I was actually given in increasing doses, no change in the way I feel. And the doctor's not interested. They just test you, they're noticing that the levels are not changing, so they just increase the dose. Until actually what's happening is I'm getting quite toxic, because the problem for me is I don't convert. I don't seem to convert T4 to T3, the inactive to the active hormone. And that means I'm just getting higher and higher and higher doses of T4 with very little happening on the T3 side, which is the bit that my body actually needs. Now, why isn't my body converting? It's a very interesting question. Partly it's lack of needed nutrients, particularly selenium. B12 is also involved, and I talked a lot about that in the first video, how to supplement that. But given that my body isn't converting at the moment, and that may also be partly genetic, epigenetic phenomena, which when I talked about having my DNA read in my Strategene video, which is also on this channel. You'll know that there are reasons for that. I'm a poor detoxifier, basically. My liver doesn't function as well as some people's. And that's an issue, and its liver function is very linked to thyroid, because you need a lot of energy to detoxify, and thyroid is the master gland of your energy production. So if you haven't got a lot of energy and you can't keep your body temperature up, you find that a lot of functions don't happen as well as they should do, including liver function, but also kidney function, and even, muscular function. So what's the solution? Well, if you're a poor converter, it's not these artificial T4 formulations. They simply don't work. So you have to go for something that actually replaces the T3 as well as the T4, and also there's T2 and there's T1. By the way, the T stands for thyroxine, and that's just the chemical compound, and the 1, 2, 3 and 4 relates to how many iodine molecules are attached. Any of you chemistry bods out there, you just need to know that in order to activate, you take a iodine molecule off the T4 and it becomes T3. But there are also these T1 and T2 molecules, which we don't quite know what they all do, but we know that they're really important, and they're all present in a natural thyroid tissue. So just supplementing one thing, I mean, it can work for some people if they can convert it, but for me, it's not really the option. So I've gone for something much more natural, and this is a product which you can get in the UK, but there'll be plenty of other options. This one's called Metavive 2, just the 2 relates to the dosage. Metavive. And okay, some of you are going to find this a bit gross, but it's a glandular, which means basically it's taken from animals. In this case, it's taken from apparently happy pigs. They are reared so that they can roam and get adequate light and all of that. It's an ethical production, but eventually when they're slaughtered, the thyroid glands are actually taken out of the pigs and ground down. Now, I've been a vegetarian for years, as I said in my previous video, and I am very anti-animal testing. I actually refused to test animals for my chemistry project when I was doing my degree. So it is with a heavy heart that I say I've got to take this stuff, but I'm hoping that the animals are, their meat is used, because, at least then it's not just killing for the sake of it. And if actually, until I can cure my own the predispositions that I've got, the toxicity factors and so on, I've got to intervene, otherwise my thyroid's going to be totally destroyed. And so I'm having to go for this product, which I'm kind of, but at least I've chosen one that I know is ethical. And so that's what I'm doing. And I'm taking, in increasing doses, I'm taking one at the moment every morning. And that is, can't remember how many micrograms, 30 milligrams actually, 30 milligrams every morning before I eat. So I take it, just swallow it before I eat or drink in the morning. And then in fact 2 weeks after I've started that, which will be this Thursday, coming Thursday, I will have one in the morning and then one in the evening. And I'll do that for another 2 weeks. And then the idea is you gradually increase 2 in the morning, 1 in the evening, 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening, and so on, until you reach a point where, guess what, you're not going to wait for the doctor to tell you. You're going to notice that you feel better or you feel worse. And what the specialist has told me is you'll know because you'll start to get hyperthyroid symptoms when you've overdosed, which is a racing heart. You just feel a bit hyperactive because you've got too much energy. And then you go one down from that state. The half-life of thyroid hormone in the body is about 7 days. So there's a bit of, there'll be a few days where I'm maybe feeling a little bit overdosed. But because it's a fairly low formulation, it's not going to cause me any major harm. And once I've hit the dose and I know what I'm going to be taking, it's based on me, not on a standard person, This is what I love about the holistic method. It's not saying, well, the dosage is X, regardless of your gender, liver detoxification capability, weight, activity levels, and so on, which are all very different in many people. And so just giving us all the same amount makes no sense whatsoever. So I love this method. So far, I've noticed, and I'm only obviously on the really minimal dose at the moment, I have noticed I'm not having to take as many naps, which I was having to do to keep going. I'm able to stay up after 10 o'clock and I'm relatively awake, which is unusual, or has been for the last few years. I haven't noticed any weight loss, but to be honest, I haven't weighed myself because it's been so disappointing the last 2 or 3 years to notice the weight creeping on and for no reason that I could detect, because I don't eat that much and I do exercise. I haven't weighed myself yet. I haven't got around to that, but I will have to in a couple of weeks and see if I notice a change. But energy levels seem to be different. That's all I'll say. And obviously with the other supplements that I'm taking, I'll hopefully be bringing on board the conversion of the remaining T4 that I've got in my thyroid, my own natural thyroid, to stop the destruction, so that we halt the destruction and keep me going. But the basic understanding is that I'll be on these for the rest of my life, which is a bit sad. I don't always think that's necessarily true. I think the body can regenerate in ways that we hardly know. So I'm going to keep my options open and definitely look towards a positive outcome with my own treatment. But I just wanted to tell you what's going on for me, and how it will inform my practice, because if I get anybody coming to me with low thyroid, I'll definitely recommend this. Okay, bye for now.